got from his son-in-law. This is something to do with this Moto Guzzi he's doing up, restoring. This is the actual shaft out of the gearbox. There's nothing wrong with it, I ain't got to make a new one of these, but apparently this goes into the motorbike somewhere, or the gearbox is on this end, I'm not sure which. But he wants me to make a short bit, this bit, so that he can put that in a vise and build whatever he can build, what he's got to build on top of this. Turning this, I mean, that's absolutely no problem at all, turning them down to the diameters. Putting these splines in it, that's a different story. Now I've got a little fly cutter here that I've made for something else that very nearly is right in there, but it's a little bit too big. Now I've obviously hardened this, but I'm going to stick it in the lathe and just see if I can file it down or take it down a little bit, just so it gets right into there, into the bottom of them. So let's stick it on the lathe and see if I can make the bit first. Took anything over there at all, I don't think it has. I'll try the grinder, because it hasn't got to be super accurate. This is going to get red hot in a minute, and I'm going to have to chuck it across the workshop now. That's pretty close. I'm going to touch the end up a little bit, give it a bit of a chance. Feels pretty good. So I've cut about 7 inches of inch bar off, turn the ends and centre drill them. I'm going to actually turn this between centres, not something I'll do very often. That means I've got to take my chuck off, so I've got to use my new tool that I got at the thingy the other week. Oh, that makes that job easy. So I've got the metal set up between centres. I'm doing a bit of a drawing of the measurements I've got to do. So I'm going to use my poor man's DRO in reverse, because you can use this to push as well as pull. And I'm just going to mark up the material now. The different diameter, where I've got to do the different diameters, and start turning it. Alright, so that is 22.375 at the moment. It needs to be 22, but it's got quite warm, so I'm going to let that cool down a bit and set up my suds pump. Alright, so this one wants about 15 thou off it, so I'll put 7.5 on here. No, I'll put 7 on there. Come on, you bastard. me out. Oh, there you go, it stops as I start talking. It's 22.05, which is pretty close. I think that'll do. Okay, on to the next one. Well, that's the shaft finished. That was the easy bit. Alright, rough turning on this end here. Shameful that is. Anyway, that's where the splines are going to be cut, so not the end of the world. But I better get it over onto the mill now and see if the cutter I've made is going to cut it. Alright, so I've got it set up in the mill now. And as you can see, this is pretty much the extent of what this little mill of mine can do. In fact, it's a little bit beyond it. I can't get anything on the end to support the end. And I'm thinking about cobbling something up here just to stop any push this way. I mean, it's pretty solid in there, but not solid enough really for putting a fly cutter into it. But we'll have to give it a go. I've got it pretty square in there. The little deviations in that are how rough the turning is. That's down to my my old lathe. It's getting a bit past it, but it's as square as I can get it. I'll get the cutter in there, get it centered up, and see what happens. Well, attempt one was a complete failure. The first bit I had snapped, so I made another one. But if that will focus, it's just knocking the corners of it. Ain't working at all. So I've got this one. I'm going to just try and grind the profile of the teeth on it and have a go at that. Pain in the arse. Well, the HSS one is holding up quite well. Whether I got the angles right or anything, I don't know, but seems to be working alright at the moment. I'm halfway through. That was the 7th one. Well, a bit of HSS stood up to that quite well. It's done them all anyway. Right, whether they fit or not, whether it works, I don't know, because I only did these by eye on the grinder, so who knows. Just got to put a couple of flats on the back bit here now so you can hold it in a vice or something, and that'll be the job done. Alright, that's him done with the flats on it. Not quite sure how he wants to use it or if it will fit. That's that one. That's the proper gearbox shaft or whatever it is. I think it'll fit. And it's not for running, it's just for lining it up. So you can put the gearbox or something together. I'm not quite sure what it is, but well, there it is. Alright, so I went out to see Jim to see if this fitted. It didn't, but a little bit of tweaking and now it fits. but this is what it's actually for. I could have done with this bit to start with, really. When he asked me about making it, I said about making it in aluminium, and he said, well no, because it's got to take quite a lot of torque. And what it's for, he just needs it to go in there, sit in a vise, so it can torque up this nut here, because it's got to be some, I can't remember the torque, but quite a lot of torque. So it can be miles shorter. I didn't need to piss about making all this bit. So what I'm going to do is cut that off there, put the flats on here so that it's quite close in the vise, and it can do this nut up. That's all it's for, doing this nut up. So I'm going to do that, chop it off, chop this bit off and put the flats on there. Tram up the old vice jaws before we get going. It's good enough for me. Blind man would like to see it. So there it is, shortened, 4 flats on the end, so I can stick it in a vise. Goes in there like that. And plonk that in a vise and put all the torque he wants on it. A lot of work just to do a nut up. As Catherine Tate would say, what a fucking liberty. But he did buy a 5 litre tub of hobgoblin the other day, which was rather nice. Right, now before you go, I've got a new toy and I ain't even been out buying. This is an old new tool, I think it was a new tool or something, yeah. New tool, arc welder, was my brother's. He had it stored around my sister's garage. He's downsized, so he's got no room for anything, so I said I'd store it for him. He ain't used it for years. It's in a bit of a state. I think this wire's probably had it. I don't know whether the camera can see that. Yeah, everything looks a bit tired, to say the least, but I think a new good clean up, new spool. I've never done any MIG welding, so I'm looking forward to cleaning this up and giving it a go, but that'll be on the next one. Well, thanks for watching. Thanks for everyone who's subscribed lately and everyone who's subscribed ever. I would appreciate some more subscribers. If you ain't subscribed, subscribe now, I'd like it. And I'll see you next time in Cliff Shed. Bye for now. It's good enough for me. Blind man would like to see it. Bollocks.